What's the real reason that so many first-time Airbnb hosts fail? It's because they don't master the numbers. They overestimate their profit. They fail to accurately account for seasonality, and what's worse, they're using the wrong costs. And getting any of these factors wrong can turn an investment dream into a financial nightmare. But if you get it right, and it can absolutely transform your financial future. To succeed in Airbnb investing, you need to know exactly how much your listing is going to earn before you put it on the market. And so in today's video, we're gonna break down the 3 numbers that you absolutely must predict accurately. And these are occupancy rate, average daily rate, and seasonality. First, let's dive into why occupancy rate is so tough for new investors to get right. Occupancy rate is the percentage of nights that are booked compared to what's available. So in a month of 30 days, if 18 nights are booked, that means you have a 60% occupancy rate. And the problem with this is that most new investors are overestimating what their occupancy rate is going to be. And this starts a domino effect of miscalculating the projected revenue, which is a lot higher than it will be in reality. So now that you know what occupancy rate is, let's break down average daily rate. Your average daily rate is the amount that you will earn per booked night, averaged across a certain period of time. So let's say in a given month that you earn $3,000 and you're booked for 20 nights. That would give you an average daily rate of $150. Even though some nights it's $180, others it's $120. And the biggest mistake that I see new investors making is that they price their property either too high or too low. And I know that I personally have made this mistake. One high season a couple of years ago, I forgot to reset my nightly rate to account for the slower season. And it meant that in January, I was still charging the premium that December usually gets. And it ultimately meant that my property wound up being empty for a bigger percentage of the month than I had actually projected. It was about 20% lower, which wound up costing me about $2,000 for that month. So to avoid this scenario, there's a couple of solutions. One, you're going to have to budget adequately during those high seasons. Sock money away so that you have money to pay the bills come those slower travel months. But 2, you're also going to want to use a pricing software that will adjust your prices automatically based on demand. Even in markets that have a higher occupancy rate overall, there are going to be some months where it's really high and some months where it's really low. And these could be huge swings. You could see summer months booking at 90%. You could see winter months booking at 30%. So the difference can be stark. But on average, when you look across the whole year, you could see something like 80%. Just don't make the mistake of assuming that it's going to be 80% consistently. Let's put this all together to predict your profits. The first thing you need to keep in mind on this point is that a lot of new investors make the mistake of thinking that they are going to earn what the top earners will make. But the reality is that most new listings will earn 20 to 30% lower than the market average. And that's because there's just not enough data, including reviews and ratings, for travelers to trust your property. It's going to take some time for your listing to season. That is, you're going to have to host guests, ensure they have a great experience, and you're getting as many 5-star ratings before your property will start to earn what the average does for your market. I know that in my case, I was using a 75% occupancy projection. For at least my first 6 months, it was about 65%. While that isn't a huge swing, it still made the difference of a couple $1,000 from my projections. The other thing to keep in mind is that sites like AirDNA and other revenue estimators are using the block nights on a calendar of an Airbnb listing, meaning if it's blocked, they assume that it's booked. Now here's the thing, a host can block a night on a calendar for any number of reasons. They can be performing maintenance, doing repairs, they could be staying there, or they could just simply want to take a break. So you cannot assume that just because a night is blocked on a calendar that it is booked. You're going to have to manually verify. So then how do you know what booking data is real? You're going to want to use what I call the 3 C's. And this is a framework for you to estimate accurately booking rates and average daily rates. The 3 C's are compare, confirm, calculate. The first step is to find comparables in your market. And you're gonna wanna find listings that are a similar size, including bedroom and bath count, as well as square feet, location, design, and amenities. And once you find listings that are similar to what you have or what you will be putting on the market, you're going to want to confirm the data that you're seeing in a site like AirDNA by going manually into Airbnb and checking a couple of things. First thing is the reviews. And what you're looking for here is to make sure that they have enough reviews. Do not look at listings with less than 20 to 30 reviews. The second thing is you're gonna wanna look at comps that have very consistent reviews. Over the last 12 months, do they have multiple reviews every single month? If there's any data missing, so there's a couple of months that are missing in the last 12 months, do not use that as a comp. It may not be a full-time listing, which is what you want. So once you have found the comps and you have confirmed their data, the next step is to then calculate. And here you're gonna wanna take 2 listings from your comp list. First is going to be a comp that is one that you cannot beat. Maybe the location is better than yours. Maybe there are amenities that they can provide that you know you can't. Whatever the reason, pick that listing that is doing really well, that you cannot beat, and calculate what their annual revenue is by multiplying the average daily rate by their occupancy rate. This is going to give you an upper ceiling of what you could potentially earn, even though you're probably not going to get that high. The second is to find a listing that you know you can beat. So let's say that the amenities or the design just aren't as good as you know that you can do, and this is going to give you the floor. The simplest way then to figure out how much revenue you could make is to take an average of those 2 once you've calculated their annual revenue. If you think that your listing is going to be closer to the high comp, then maybe estimate closer to what their revenue is. Same for the floor comp. So now you've got a good sense using valid data of what your annual revenue is going to be. The next step is to accurately predict what your costs are going to be. There's 2 sets of costs, fixed cost and variable. Fixed is going to include things like your mortgage, taxes, insurance, utilities, pest control. Perhaps you do landscaping. Any of those regular bills that are the same amount each month, you're going to need to get a total. The next are going to be your variable costs, and those are going to include things like your supplies, repairs, maintenance. And for these, what you can do is just take an estimated percentage. For repairs and maintenance, I will estimate 25%. For supplies, I'll estimate 10% of the total revenue. So once you've added both of these figures, you're just going to do the simple calculation of subtracting your costs from your projected revenue. I like to take it a step further and identify what the cash on cash return is, which is just one way of figuring out the return on investment. And you will divide the total amount of profit by the amount of cash that you put in to get that deal done. So to purchase it, do the closing, furnish, design, all of that stuff. For me, a good target is 20% cash on cash return or above. That is a range where I feel really comfortable moving forward with an investment. Making money in Airbnb investing isn't luck. It's about mastering occupancy rate, average daily rate, seasonality, and your costs. If you want more detailed information on how to use sites like AirDNA and Price Labs to estimate your costs, let me know down in the comments. Please hit like and subscribe for more information like this. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Bye-bye.